Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Amit, and in today's video I'm going to be going through exactly how you wash your hair after hair transplants on your own and how to remove the scabs on the 11th day as well. If you're like me and you just got a hair transplant not too long ago, you're probably wondering, how do I wash my hair on my own after I get it done? That's what I kind of want to cover in this video for today. I know a lot of people have been asking me a more detailed view of exactly how to wash your hair after your hair transplant. I have a video on this channel already about it, but that was during my first hair transplant. But I'm doing it all over again on this second hair transplant that I've just gotten. So I'm going to be showcasing methods that I've been doing. The first one is literally the day after you finish your hair transplant. So the very first wash that you will be getting is from the clinic itself. Generally, if you go to Turkey especially, they will call you back after the surgery the next day to get your hair washed by them. They will show you step by step exactly how to wash it, applying the moisturizer and then shampooing your head afterwards. Now, the day after that is basically the day you generally should be returning home after your transplant in Turkey. That's the first morning where you're probably going to have to wash your hair on your own. The clinic will provide you certain moisturizers and shampoos, but it's up to you to figure out how to apply it as soon as you're on your own. The first thing I do is carefully remove the headband my clinic had provided me to wear after my first wash with them. Afterwards, I use the moisturizer that the clinic had also provided for the first 11 days of my recovery on the recipient area. I then carefully used 2 fingers to apply the moisturizer all over my transplanted areas in order to make sure it was properly spread out. The video here is a little sped up, but when you are doing this, take your time to make sure all of the transplanted areas are covered. As this was my first wash on my own, I made the mistake of not applying it to the full area, which you can see here in the video. Once it has all been applied, wait for about 30 minutes before starting to wash it all off. During this time, you can slowly take off the gauze strip that was placed on your donor area after the surgery. Once 30 minutes have passed, you can start applying the shampoo the clinic provided to use also for the first 11 days. You can use this directly onto your donor area, but make sure when you are cleaning it to apply it in a circular motion. The donor area will be very sensitive the first time you wash it, so you can see that I'm very lightly touching it with my hands. Once it has all been applied, you can jump into the shower and wash it all off. For my situation, the hotel shower was pumping out high pressure water and there was no way to adjust the pressure levels. So instead, what I did was dabble the water in my hand and then slowly tap it on my transplanted areas to wash off the moisturizer and shampoo. In all honesty, this was quite difficult to do as you need some flow of water on your scalp in order to get the moisturizer and shampoo off fully. Now, truth be told, that wasn't the most efficient way to get the moisturizer and shampoo washed off on my head. I didn't really have a choice at the time because of the disadvantages that I had in the hotel shower, and the shower head was just pumping out way too much water pressure for me to be able to be using that on my head at that early stage of the hair transplant. I basically had to force myself to use the water in my hand and drip it over my head. But again, not the most ideal situation. However, when I did get back home and had the control over my own shower head, it was a much more seamless process. So for this method, it's pretty much the same, but in this situation, as time goes by, it becomes much more easier to wash your head yourself. You can see here that I'm just applying the moisturizer on my head again. Same stuff, different day, but this time I'm more used to making sure my entire transplanted area is covered properly. I'm also more comfortable using my 2-finger method to spread it around as well. For this time, I was able to control my shower head at home to be at a lower water pressure. It was much easier to wash off the moisturizer on my scalp. I continued using the water and my 2 fingers to slowly take it off. Once it was mostly washed off, I then proceeded to apply the shampoo on my donor area and transplanted area. I used the same circular motion method as previously shown, and as well as dabbed it on my scalp with my 2 fingers. After this, I proceeded to wash everything off until my head was fully clean. Lastly, I dried up the top of my scalp with a paper towel while letting my donor hair air dry. After a few taps, I was good to go. Now, this way definitely is much more easier to do, having a low pressure water shower head in order to make sure all the moisturizer and shampoo is rubbed off. And also, while you're rubbing your donor area, just note that scabs will peel off during this time. But don't be afraid, that's all part of it. Your scabs eventually should be coming off your donor area before the scabs on your transplanted areas. And finally, I wanted to showcase how to remove your scabs on the 11th day after your hair transplant. Now, as we know, the 11th day is pretty important because that's when the scabs are all formed all over your transplanted areas, and this is the time we have to remove them completely off the scalp. The transplanted grafts will be able to breathe and properly grow out afterwards. For the removal of scabs, it's pretty much the same thing as washing your head, but the only difference now is that instead of tapping your transplanted areas with 2 fingers, you're rubbing it in a circular motion to scrub out scabs, just like how you shampoo your donor area. Make sure you're not using your fingernails or tips, but the flat part of your fingers instead. You can see how the scabs and even some tiny hairs start to come off. Don't be alarmed if you see some hair fall out. It's all part of the shedding phase, and some of these hairs that are coming out are the ones that are stuck to the scabs in the first place. And finally, after all of that, the scabs are out. Now you can see one major difference is that the scabs give the illusion of the transplanted area as if the hair is actually there. But the truth is that the scabs are formed, giving that idea that, oh, there's hair there, but actually once you rub it off, you can actually see where the transplanted area really was and where the grafts were actually placed. Now don't be afraid, because as you are washing your hair and cleaning off the scabs, you will definitely see some hairs pop off, but it's not due to your grafts falling off. The grafts can't fall off at this point. They've already been cemented and implanted deep into the roots of your scalp. What is falling off is probably the baby hairs that are on top of your head, or it's just that the shedding phase is starting. And of course, we all know the shedding phase is something we all dread, but we have to go through it, we trust the process, and eventually we get the hair that we want. So that's pretty much how you wash your hair on the first day after a hair transplant, along with the other days in between, and finally removing your scabs off on the 11th day. I hope you found this video useful to yourself. If you have any questions, definitely do leave them in the comments below. Happy to help and respond to them. I do also have a one-on-one consultation service if you guys want to have a private chat with me and going through everything about your hair transplant as well. Link is all in the bio below. If you like content like this, definitely do consider liking this video and subscribing to my channel if you already haven't. For now, I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.